Hey everybody, Tekking101 here. I know this is the point in the show where I normally do a hilarious intro sketch, but I've been very busy the past week, so I decided to do something else. Shameless self-promotions! This past week I continued my Pokemon Let's Plays. Come on! Come on! Quit being an evasive bitch! I also did a new Let's Play for a horror game known as Slender Space. I mean, it's really cool. I mean, they're adding more functions to it than like in the original, was just like run and that's pretty much— oh my god, what the fuck?! I did a first impressions of Attack on Titan. Okay, well damn. And I started a new series discussing the Bount arc. And if you don't like it, then fucking shoot me! Yeah, it's about the reception I received. Although, actually, I'm really happy with that series I'm doing because I either thought a lot of people responding to the video would either be strongly against it or strongly for it, and I've been getting a little bit of mixture of both. So, I'm liking that. As long as I spark debate, that's all about me. The real thing you want me to discuss, and I hear it all the damn time, is regarding the 3K subscriber contest, Squad 101 contest I did way back in January, and I've never mentioned since. I'm not going to get into it in this video because it would just take too damn long. I will make another video sometime this week in the next couple days giving you an update on what's going on. Okay? We good. That's great. Intro. Hey everybody, Tekking101 here to review Bleach chapter number 537 entitled Everything But the Rainbow P10, whatever. Okay, so this is the end of the flashback arc. We have, it's not even really a flashback chapter, it's more just like they're in the present and they're just kind of recalling stuff from the flashback. We get little snippets, but nothing like really concrete like we got in the last couple chapters. The chapter continues from the last one where we have Isshin telling Ichigo exactly what happened to Misaki 9 years ago regarding Grand Fisher and her death. Isshin states that Misaki really shouldn't have died there that night because all Quincy's that are pure-blooded have the ability known as Bleach, which we already knew about. He even states that people that are not pure-blooded can learn it with training. Okay, so I was just under the impression that Bleach was just one of the new age Quincy abilities. Remember, like before this, Kurji mentioned that Sok and Ishida taught the old ways of being a Quincy. So I just assumed that Bleach and that specific Let's Steal, what was it called? The holy form. What was it called? I forget. Was it just called Let's Steal? I didn't know, but anyway, that ability was just part of the new ways, and Soken just like clung to the old ways. So that's why I just assumed that Uryu never mentioned Bleach before, it never came up, Ryukin never mentioned it, but no, that's not the case. Apparently Bleach is a fundamental Quincy skill that's been around for freaking centuries, and actually something else we're going to learn at this end of the chapter is going to question the fact of where New Age and Old Age even come from, something we're going to find out later. But he states that Misaki's ability in Bleach Vein, the defensive one, was actually exceptionally strong because going back to how Shiro bit her in the shoulder and it barely left anything like just a little kind of a mark. That's why, remember I was a little bit confused of if she got hurt because there was like hardly any blood, or if there was, Kubo didn't really heighten the fact that there was a lot of blood. She did get bit, so that doesn't matter, but she did block the wound. I mean, normally a hollow of that ability, I mean, it took out 3 Shinigami without like just yawning essentially, so that attacking a human being, her arm would have gotten ripped off or some shit. But, no, it was because of Bleach Vein. And that also helps later on explain exactly how Ichigo was able to survive a point-blank stab in the throat from Juha, despite not having any form of training in Bleach Vein and just doing it reflexively. It's probably, his skill was probably passed down from Misaki that he has an exceptional gift in Bleach Vein. Not really getting to Bleach... Oh, we haven't really been focusing on Bleach Artery that much, have we? It's always been about Bleach Vein and the defensive skill. I mean, I understand the defensive skill is pretty unique, but having Bleach Artery essentially increasing your attack power and like that should be something that they would mention a lot too, but apparently not. Isshin goes on to say that he wasn't unable to save her that day, he just didn't go to her. Apparently what was going on was that Isshin was at home at the time, and remember this was back when he didn't have any Shinigami powers, yet he was still able to somehow sense the Ryatsu of Grand Fisher and Misaki, even though when Ichigo lost his Shinigami powers, he wasn't even able to sense Ryatsu at all. Although, Ichigo was never really good at sensing Ryatsu anyway, so that might be a thing. Or that might be the fact that Isshin's Shinigami powers really weren't, let's not call them gone, or let's not call them removed, let's just call them dormant. Because when Ichigo's powers were gone, they were literally gone. He had to get his powers back through some secondary source, which was that sword that Rukia used. I mean, he had a little bit of his powers left, but most of them, they were all completely wiped out. Isshin's powers are still there, they're just busy suppressing Shiro's Ryatsu, so they're not really gone, they're just busy doing something else, and Isshin can't access them directly. So after sensing both of the Ryatsu, Isshin just assumes that Misaki would be able to handle it because she does still have her Quincy powers. Those were not removed from her when Shiro attacked, so he figured, oh, you know, Misaki's fighting a Hollow, whatever. And I'm sure this has happened before. I'm sure that in the 9 years since Isshin and Misaki have had Ichigo, I'm sure there's been some Hollow attacks that she's fought somewhere. I'm sure this is not the first instance. So Isshin was certainly worried about her, but at the same time, there's nothing he can do. If he went, he would just get caught up in the entire attack, and he would just maybe make it worse for Misaki if he were to get injured. Also, have you guys noticed that we haven't even mentioned freaking Yuzu and Karin in this yet? Like, going about the secrets of Isshin and Misaki, the secret of Ichigo's birth. Wouldn't that imply that freaking Yuzu and Karin are Quincy's too? Is this not a main issue in the freaking story? I think it is. I mean, you could argue the fact that, oh, only all of the Quincy powers and all the Shinigami powers were only passed down to Ichigo. It might be true that he got the full brunt of it, he got most of it, because at the same time Ichigo was able to see full-fledged spirits. Karin was able to too, but you know, she obviously might not have any Shinigami powers. She might not, we really don't know. And Yuzu was barely able to see any at all, although she probably is able to see some now. So, just a little consistency, mention what's going on. You have two other siblings that are under the same birth circumstances as them, essentially. I mean, they were both born while Isshin was channeling his Ryatsu into Misaki, so both Yuzu and Karin should both be Quincy and Hollow and Shinigami hybrids too. I'm just, not to mention Fullbringers, I'm just saying, are you ever going to mention this, Kubo? Oh man, maybe at the very end of the series, maybe that's how Bleach is going to end, with Yuzu becoming a Shinigami, Yuzu and Karin entering the Shinigami Academy or some bullshit like that, I don't know. So before exactly telling Ichigo directly what happened to Misaki and how she died, he first does a little aside and mentions if Uryu never talked about his mother. Ichigo said, of course, he never talked about his family just because he's really removed like that, and Isshin explains that his mother was actually named Kane Katagiri. Wow, we didn't see that coming! The one that Ryukin always hung around with and always cried, and one who always cried for Ryukin, and they acted like they just wanted to jump on a table and bang each other all the time. Yeah, that's, in my mind anyway, that's Uryu's mother. Congratulations, Internet! Okay, so we stated that along with being a mixed-blood Quincy, 9 years ago on June 17th, she lost consciousness and she died 3 months later. And that's exactly what happened with Misaki too. She passed out. And the reason for this was that 9 years ago, Juha Bach made a selection of Quincies, or the Ashwollen. I really got to get better at singing German. I should really take a Rosetta Stone course in German for the rest of this series. Anyway, so basically the deal here is, and this is big exposition in this chapter about exactly what Juha Bach is. Apparently there's a Quincy folklore or a fairy tale of a time like 1,000 years ago when there was apparently this sealed king. We're led to believe that it's Juha Bach as the sealed king, but I don't know, because wouldn't that make a great twist near the end of Bleach where Ichigo thinks he needs to defeat the Sealed King, which is Juha, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, yeah, that wasn't the real Sealed King, this is the real Sealed King. It's probably Juha, but, you know, I had to analyze everything in depth. Anyway, the folktale goes, essentially, that after the Sealed King was defeated 1,000 years ago, he would require 900 years to regain his heart, 90 years to regain his intelligence, and 9 years to regain his power. 9 years ago being when Misaki died. Oh, wait a minute, wait a second. Oh my god, it's 1,000! Therefore, in order to reattain his power, I guess he had to make a select group of Quincies, select them, and I guess he just did something to them, maybe some kind of spell or something, and they just all collapsed and he drained all their power. And it was a combination of Misaki losing consciousness because of that Grand Fisher was able to kill her. So, a lot of people were always assuming like, oh, Grand Fisher couldn't have killed Misaki because Misaki was freaking badass. She took out freaking Shiro in the most freaking Sarah Connor-esque pattern. There's no way that freaking hollow shit could have killed her. And And it is true because Holo would be, the difference in their power was, very evident. But at the same time, we have to remember Grand Fisher did have that camouflage function, which doesn't matter how great of a warrior you are, it doesn't matter how strong you are. If you get caught by the element of surprise, you could get killed just the same as any kind of novice, so that would make sense. That, along with the fact of passing out in the battlefield, was kind of an issue. So, yeah, if Juha Bach was essentially this sealed king, it would make sense why, because, if you even trace back 90 years ago when he apparently, he just regained his heart, but he had not yet reclaimed his intelligence. 90 years ago, not exactly 90 years ago, but 90 years ago, isn't that really about the time when the Turn Back the Pendulum happened? I know someone's going to correct me on this, and someone's going to leave me a paragraph stating exactly when the Turn Back the Millennium took place. I'm just saying it's around the same time period. Also, I find it interesting, just okay, so for 90 years, did Juha Bach essentially just become this raving idiot who had to go back to school and Hashbald's instructing him and just he's okay class, today our lesson is I'm gonna be the Quincy King someday. That's nice, buddy, that's nice, I know you are, but first we have to learn how to add fractions. Okay, Hashbald, I love you so much, you're the best teacher ever. Actually, in all seriousness, that would explain why Hashbald and Juha have kind of a weird relationship, apart from all the other Quincy's, because, Hashbald's the only Quincy that Juha actually values his opinion and doesn't blow his head up when he disagrees with him. He can actually voice an opinion. And Hashbald knows about this too. It's not like Hashbald is, afraid of voicing his opinion. He will voice his opinion and without worry. So, I mean, for that longest time since Juha was left encumbered and enfeebled, somebody would have to be looking after him. Someone would have to be taking care of him, and Hashbald could suit that role. Also, with the fact it makes sense why he didn't do anything up to this point. If he just regained his powers recently, it would make sense why we didn't hear about him a year ago, during the Soul Society arc or some shit like that. Ishin goes on to say, and drops the big bombshell, is that every Quincy has the blood of him in his veins, because he is the father of all Quincy. He created them all, which makes sense going back to the Born in the Darkness line. Well, actually, no. Back when he said, my son born in the darkness, my son part, that makes sense now, because a lot of people assumed, okay, Ishin and Misaki is definitely Ichigo's parents. Maybe he was referring to collectively all of the Quincy's, and that makes sense. So, but it goes even beyond that. The very species that is Quincy came from Juha Bach. So, I don't know about you guys, but just because I've been doing the Bounce thing right now, I'm doing the Bounce videos, I'm having a huge flashback to the Bounce. Because how the Bounce were created was when this one singular event triggered this genetic mutation. So it was one cause created all the creation of all these this whole species essentially. Kind of something similar with the Quincy's. We don't know exactly how Juha Bach was able to become a Quincy first of all and then create all the other Quincy's or lead them in his footsteps, but it's something really interesting and kind of analogous with religious theology, how everything is spawning from this one creator or maker, God of Quincy's. We still don't really know exactly what the Born in the Darkness line would imply. I mean, I guess you could say he was born in the darkness as in he was born as with part hollow, but that doesn't make sense. We don't really know if Juha was involved in that whole Shiro thing at all. That was an Aizen thing, although we're probably going to tie in Juha to Aizen at some point. We're probably going to lead to oh yes, Sosuke Aizen was under my foot the entire time. I am Juha Bach, god of Bleach! I don't know. So anyway, yeah, so after the flashback ends, Ichigo makes his resolve. Pretty badass pose. Thank you, Dad. And then he leaves. This is where we get to another mindfuck moment in the chapter. He leaves the Kurosaki clinic with Ishin behind him, still in his Shinigami form. Izumi's outside and returns Ichigo's badge to him. Number 1, how is Izumi able to see the badge? Number 2, Ishin is right beside them again and yet she says nothing. So either Kubo forgot, it doesn't work both ways. Either Kubo forgot that the badge is supposed to be invisible to humans, or the badge, or she just didn't, or she recognized Ishin, but she didn't say anything because she already knew about him. Maybe she could see spirits for a long time, although I find that highly unlikely. It doesn't work both ways. It's not like she could see the badge but not see Ishin. That's how that goes. So either she couldn't see the badge, which is clearly not the case, or maybe she she wouldn't see the badge as something else, because it's already been shown that people will not be able to see it at all. It's invisible. So I guess, I'm thinking Kubo just forgot about that plot point. Not only the fact is, Ichigo even says out loud, "Thank you, Izumi," and Dad. Wouldn't that be kind of weird when if she can't see Isshin, if Ichigo's just outside with Izumi, he's like, thanks, Izumi. Thanks, Dad. Who the fuck are you talking to? No, it's nothing. It's nothing. I'm just going to go now. He says he's going somewhere, but we don't know where. Finally, last scene of the chapter, we cut back to the Vandenreich HQ. Finally! Finally! How long has it been, Juha? Man, high five! Alright! And I must say, he looks like a freaking boss. He's sitting on this giant floating throne. It's really elaborate, really awesome. He announces to Ashwald if he was back yet from his mission from retrieving the subject. And Ashwald states he's right here. And then, in the darkness, it is revealed Uryu Ishida, dressed in the Vandenreich uniform. Oh my god! That must mean that Uryu is 100% irrefutably evil. He's turned over to the Vandenreich. He's going to start fighting for Juha. He's going to try to kill Ichigo. I'm 100% sure how this is going to go. Now, actually, I anticipated this, even though Juha does state at the end of the chapter, so let's fight together, my son. And Prince von Licht, which I guess Prince of the Light. Yeah, really the only thing I know how to do in German is count to number 10. I learned that in 6th grade. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 10. I now have the equivalent intelligence of any German citizen of the age of 3. I feel so honored. But anyway, okay, so, yeah, I don't think Uryu's evil. I kind of expected this. I kind of figured that at some point Uryu was going to be approached by the Vandenreich, and that's something we might learn in the next chapter, exactly how Uryu was confronted. Because like I said, you know, Ichigo and his friends go off to the Hueco Mundo. Uryu's left alone in the world of the living. Perfect opportunity for someone from the Vandenreich to show up and discuss stuff with him. And it would make sense. I don't know if this is some sort of, like, join the dark side, we have cookies thing, if Juha had to bribe him or something, or maybe he just knew Uryu was going to come with him. I highly doubt it's any kind of mind control, anything like that. I don't really think it's anything like that. But I do know that Uryu is exceedingly intelligent. I know that he would join the Vandenreich to help learn what their goal was and to kind of, you know, sabotage them from the outside, from the inside, I mean, and then later on turn on them, like kind of like a double agent. Or knowing Uryu, we might do like the triple agent. We might do like Ichigo's like, it's like, Ichigo, shut up. I'm a double agent. And then he, like, fights Ichigo to prove his loyalty to Juha. And he's like, no, I'm a triple agent. I'm really with Juha again. Oh, wait, no, seriously, I'm just a quadruple agent. I'm just double back and forth. We might actually seriously get shit like that, so I'm just bracing you now. But, if nothing else, I'm just glad Uryu's back in the story. What was it, like, almost a freaking year? Well, I don't know, like, a year ago, we were almost up to chapter 500. We were in the 490s a year ago, and we haven't even seen Uryu in the 490s. That's been over a year. Come on. You had an arc focused around the Quincy's, and I understand you're going to build up to it. You're going to build up to the fact that, oh, Uryu's going to join the Vandenreich and everything, but whatever. So next chapter, I don't really think anything we're going to see where Ichigo's going. I don't know if he's going to go back to the Soul Society and see to fight against and continue where he left off with Nimaya. If Nima's just sitting up there waiting for him, I don't know. That would be annoying. He would have to go all the way back to the Soul Society, ring for the Zero Squad to come pick him up, get shot in the sky again by Kukaku, which actually might work because then he would actually be able to discuss stuff with Kukaku regarding Isshin, and then go all the way back through the two palaces before ending up back at Nimaya. So I don't think he's going to go back there. He might go and talk with Ryukin. That might be a definite possibility. Go and discuss stuff with Ryukin. And that's the other thing, too, I forgot to mention, was exactly going back to the whole new Quincy ways versus the old ways. But if Juha was just the one Quincy god that created all of them, where does that exactly fit in? I would assume since Juha was defeated by Yamamoto 1,000 years ago, and then was sealed, let's just say, by Yamamoto. That would make sense from Yamamoto. Not killing him, but sealing him. That would make sense why Mayuri stated, you failed to kill that man 1,000 years ago. That would make sense. Yamamoto just took pity on him or something and just sealed him away, and then it took him 1,000 years to regain his power. That would make sense. Don't know where the 9s are significant, why it goes 999, but, whatever. But I'm sure that... So that's just a little curious question of where that fits into there. Also, I don't know if you guys are noticing the comparison here, but from what I got here, we had a leader of a group of people that was eventually killed and then sealed away, only to be resurrected after his supposed death, whose name starts with the letter J. Wonder if there's any comparison to any major religious figure there I noticed, except he's German, which is a little odd. Anyway, that's Bleach Chapter 537. All in all, we learned about Misaki, and we learned more about exposition regarding Juha. Big shocker, of course, was Uryu, but I don't think... If anyone loses their shit over that, like, Uryu's gonna be, like, evil now, I don't think they're gonna do that, unless unless Juha did, like, some kind of spell on him, but I don't even think that's the case. I really think, you know, Uryu's just gonna do, like, the double cross kind of deal. So anyway, that's Bleach Chapter 537. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Tekking101, signing out. See you guys.